Today we're going to discuss short-term rental permitting in the state of Rhode Island, so let's dive right in. The first thing you need to do is research the permitting rules and regulations of your specific municipality or town. This is crucial because if you don't obtain a permit from your local town or municipality, there isn't really a point of getting your state permit as you won't be able to operate. It's important to note that not all towns in Rhode Island have regulations for short-term rentals like Airbnb or Vrbo. You should visit our website and review the list we've compiled, which details the rules for each town in Rhode Island. Typically, the zoning department handles short-term rental permits, so you'll want to check the zoning ordinances for your town to see what's required. Some towns currently do not have specific permits for short-term rentals yet. If that's the case where your property is located, you are in luck because then you can focus on the state permitting process. But keep in mind, local rules like quiet hours, trash collections, or safety codes, such as fire regulations, still apply. It's important to keep in mind, even if there aren't any permit requirements right now, some towns are working on new rules that could take effect down the road. Each town in Rhode Island has its own unique set of regulations and permitting requirements for short-term rentals. That's why it's essential for you to do your research and determine what steps you need to take based on where your rental property is located. After obtaining your local municipal permit for your short-term rental, the next step is to get a state permit. In Rhode Island, all short-term rental properties listed on third-party platforms like Airbnb, Vrbo, or real estate brokerage websites must be registered with the Rhode Island Department of Business Regulation. This requirement applies to properties rented for 30 nights or less at a time, which is the typical case for platforms such as Airbnb and Vrbo. A third-party hosting platform is defined as any website used to list properties for tourist or transient use. If a property manager, real estate licensee, or rental agent lists properties they do not own, the property owner or lessee must register those properties. There is a small registration fee, and the registration isn't valid forever. You will have to renew this on whichever time basis the state decides. If you rent out individual rooms in an owner-occupied unit, only one registration is needed for the entire unit. However, if you rent out entire units, each unit requires separate registration. For example, in a 3-family house with 3 apartments being advertised for short-term rental, each apartment must have its own registration. Failure to register with the state can result in fines. $250 for the first 30 days of noncompliance, $500 for 31 to 60 days of noncompliance, and $1,000 for more than 60 days of noncompliance. When applying, you will need the principal place of business of the owner or the property manager, the phone number and email address of the owner or property manager, the rental property address, the number of rooms for rent, whether the registrant rents or owns the property, and the intended use of the rental, whether that is to rent out an entire space, private rooms, or a shared space. There is no requirement for proof of liability insurance to register your property, though it is advisable to have adequate insurance coverage for your short-term rental. Only the property owner or lessee can register the property with the state. A property manager or rental agent cannot handle this process on the owner's behalf. There are some important new requirements that have been initiated in 2024 for all rental properties, which includes short-term rentals. These regulations are focused on lead safety for tenants. The new regulations require all property owners who rent out residential properties in Rhode Island to register their units. This includes single-family homes, multifamily units, condominiums, and apartment complexes. The Rhode Island Rental Registry is a statewide database established by the Residential Landlord and Tenant Act, which requires landlords to register their rental properties. The registry's primary aim is to uphold lead-safe housing standards across the state by enforcing compliance with lead hazard mitigation laws, especially for properties built before 1978. This tool helps the state monitor residential rental units and ensures that landlords are meeting important health and safety standards to protect tenants. To register your property, landlords must create an account on the official Rhode Island Rental Registry website. You will have to create an account and sign up to join the database and get access to your dashboard. The information you will have to provide are the owner or business entity name, the current business or home address, email address and phone number, your property management company if you use one, identification details for each unit, date of current occupancy, and proof of a valid lead certificate if you have one of those already or had one in the past. The good news for short-term rental owners is that you are likely exempted from the requirements to actually obtain the lead certificate. You will still have to register your unit with the Rhode Island statewide rental website database. However, this is directly from their website. Do short-term rentals need lead certificates? Short-term rentals that meet the following definition of temporary housing from the Lead Hazard Mitigation Act do not need a lead certificate. Temporary housing means any seasonal place of residence that is rented for no more than 100 days per calendar year to the same tenant, where no lease renewal or extension can occur, and any emergency shelter intended for night-to-night accommodation. To remain compliant, it's important to stay informed about existing and upcoming regulations, especially if your municipality currently lacks specific short-term rental rules. Many towns are in the process of developing such rules, so keeping up to date will help you avoid fines and ensure smooth operation of your rental business. By following these guidelines and keeping an eye on regulatory changes, you can successfully manage your short-term rental in Rhode Island without facing penalties. If you have any question about short-term rental permitting, please feel free to go to our website, airhosted.com, to learn more about the process and speak to an expert. The link to our website is in the description below.